She was everything I had in this world. Ever since my dad walked out on us, my mom did the impossible to raise me on her own. She cleaned houses, watched other people's kids, sold things on the street, whatever it took to feed me, educate me, and protect the future she believed I deserved. But when my big moment finally came, the one she had dreamed of right alongside me, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I was ashamed of her. Yes, ashamed of the woman who gave up everything for me. And it all started because of a single photo. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Could you look into the eyes of someone who gave you everything and admit you? Let pride get in the way. Stick with me until the end because this story is going to hit deep. My name is Daniel, and growing up, I never had much. We lived in a tiny apartment with leaky pipes and flickering lights, but my mom always made it feel like home. She used to sing while washing dishes and made pancakes for dinner when money was tight, just to see me smile. I didn't realize it back then, but she was carrying the weight of the world on her back with a strength I couldn't begin to understand. At school, I was the quiet kid. My clothes weren't trendy and I never had the newest backpack or shoes, but I studied hard and my mom never let me give up. "Your mind is your way out, baby," she'd whisper when I was too tired to keep going. And somehow, I believed her. Got a scholarship to a good high school across town. The kids there came from money, real money. They talked about vacations in Europe and complained about getting the wrong color iPhone. I laughed along even when I didn't get the joke. I didn't want them to know where I came from. Still, I kept climbing. I studied harder than anyone else, stayed late with teachers, even worked part-time at a bookstore to help mom with the bills. When college applications came, I aimed high, really high. And when that acceptance letter came from Stanford, we both cried like babies. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. "You did it, Danny. We did it." I remember thinking, she really believes this is our victory. And maybe it was. But part of me wanted it to be just mine. The first few weeks at Stanford felt like living in another world. Everything was bigger, shinier, faster. The dorms looked like fancy hotels and the people talked like they already knew they belonged. I told myself I could fit in too, if I just left my old life behind, even if just a little. I didn't talk much about my mom. When people asked, I'd say she worked in hospitality or that she managed properties. It wasn't technically a lie. She had cleaned hundreds of homes in her life, but the truth felt too raw, too out of place in those sleek lecture halls and Ivy League ambitions. Then came the scholarship gala, a formal event with donors, professors, and students. They wanted to celebrate the kids who had overcome adversity. I was one of them. They asked us to bring a guest. Naturally, I asked my mom. She was so excited. She cried on the phone. "I'm gonna wear that blue dress you love, remember?" I remembered. It was the same dress she wore to my high school graduation, faded at the sleeves, but it made her glow. Still, I hesitated. A few days before the event, I saw the photos from past galas. Parents in tuxedos, moms in silk gowns, all polished and perfect. My heart sank. I didn't want my mom to feel out of place. I told her, no, I lied to her, that the event had been canceled. She didn't question me, not once. She just said, "Oh, that's okay, baby. These things happen. We'll celebrate right here." That night, she made her famous rice and beans, lit a candle, and we ate on our tiny balcony. She toasted with soda in a chipped glass. "To my Stanford man," and I smiled. But inside, I felt like a coward. The gala happened. I went alone, dressed in a suit I couldn't afford, shaking hands with men in tailored blazers and women in pearls. I smiled for photos, gave a short speech, even mentioned how grateful I was for the support of my family. My mom watched it all later on YouTube. I knew because she sent me a text. "You looked so handsome, so proud of you." She didn't say a word about not being there, didn't ask questions, just loved me the way she always had, quietly, fiercely. And somehow, that made the guilt even worse. I started avoiding her calls, telling myself I was just busy with exams. But the truth? I couldn't face her, not after what I'd done. not after hiding her like some kind of shame. I kept hoping the guilt would fade. It didn't. It grew. Every time someone praised me, it echoed louder. You don't deserve this. If this story has touched you even a little, take a second and leave a like. And maybe share it with someone who needs to be reminded of what real love looks like. One night, about a month later, I got a call from my mom's neighbor. Daniel, she said, your mom fainted. She's at the hospital. My stomach dropped. I booked the next flight home, praying the whole time that it wasn't serious, that it was just exhaustion, that I'd still have a chance to make things right. When I got there, she was lying in a hospital bed, pale but smiling. Look at you, she whispered. My college boy. Even then, even in pain, she wanted me to feel good. The doctor told me it was stress and untreated high blood pressure. She's been pushing herself too hard for too long. I sat beside her, holding her hand. And suddenly everything I'd been holding in, the lies, the shame, the pride, just came pouring out. I told her the truth about the gala, that I was scared she wouldn't fit in, that I didn't want people to judge me because of her. She listened quietly. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let go of my hand. Oh, baby, she said softly. You don't ever have to be ashamed of me. I know where we come from, and I know what we've built. Then she added, I didn't raise you so you'd become perfect. I raised you so you'd never forget who you are. That moment shattered me. All the awards, the speeches, the fancy rooms, they meant nothing compared to the grace in her voice. After she was discharged, I stayed home for a while. We walked together in the park, cooked side by side like old times, and talked. Really, talked. I told her things I'd never said before, about how I felt less than around my classmates, about how I thought I had to pretend to belong. She just listened, never judging. One morning I asked if I could take a photo of her. She laughed. Why would anyone want a photo of this old woman? I told her, because you're the strongest person I know, and I want the world to see who raised me. She let me take it, her in her apron, holding a coffee mug, smiling that tired, beautiful smile. I posted it online with a caption that read, This is my mother. She cleaned homes so I could build dreams. I once hid her out of shame, but today I honor her with pride. I didn't expect much, but the post went viral. Thousands of people commented, shared their own stories, thanked her, and thanked me for being honest. A few weeks later, the university asked if I'd be willing to speak at another event. This time they wanted to celebrate not just students, but their families. They asked if I could bring my mom. I said yes before they even finished the sentence. She wore that same blue dress. I wore the same suit. But this time we walked in together, hand in hand. And when I introduced her to everyone, I didn't feel out of place. I felt home. That night, as we left the auditorium, someone stopped us in the hallway. A woman, tears in her eyes, said, Your story reminded me of my own mother. I haven't talked to her in years. Thank you for making me remember what matters. My mom just hugged her and whispered, Call her. It's never too late. As we drove back to our little apartment, I looked at her in the passenger seat. The city lights reflected on her face, and I saw every wrinkle, every tired line, every mark of sacrifice. But what I saw most was love, a love that had never once asked for anything in return. I realized that night that shame doesn't come from where we come from. It comes from forgetting the people who got us there. My mom never needed to be anything more than what she already was, a warrior. And I never needed to be anyone other than her son. I made her a promise that from that day forward, I would carry her story with pride, that I would never again let fear or pride silence my gratitude. Because if I am anything in this life, it's because of her. And if you've got someone like that in your life, don't wait for the perfect moment. Tell them now. Tell them today. Because the greatest honor we can give someone is letting the world know we came from their love. We often chase success thinking it's about titles, money, or recognition. But true success? It's remembering who stood behind you when no one else did. It's honoring the sacrifices made in silence, the meals skipped so you could eat, the dreams set aside so yours could come true. I almost lost sight of that. I let pride blind me to the beauty of the woman who built my future with her bare hands. But life gave me a second chance, to say sorry, to say thank you, and to say, this is my mother, and I am who I am because of her. Maybe you've made mistakes, too. Maybe you've hidden your truth or forgotten your roots. But hear this, it's never too late to make it right. Never too late to show gratitude. Never too late to choose love over pride. The greatest lesson I've learned isn't from a classroom or a book. It came from a woman in a blue dress who never gave up on me, even when I gave up on her. That's the kind of love that changes lives. That's the kind of love that deserves to be seen. If this story touched you, don't leave without liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you're lucky enough to still have your mom call her, tell her you love her today.